Okay, so there's a lot that you could say in negative of the Revenge of the Fallen movie. I mean, that movie really didn't have a chance. It was made during the big Hollywood writers' strike, and yeah, I didn't really like it too much. A lot of people didn't like it, but it still made a lot of money. And the Bumblebee movie is finally apparently rebooting the Transformers franchise. Hopefully something a little bit more faithful to the original cartoon. At least that's how it looks from the way the characters look in the trailers. But aside from all of that, I will give them this. Revenge of the Fallen had some really nice looking scout figures. Yeah, like the scouts were always impressive. I resisted buying most of them because for the most part they were just nothing characters that didn't appear in the movie. But I gotta say, like, this guy looks really cool. This is Dead End, one of the Revenge of the Fallen scouts. And just like with Hound, he has amazing pin disc wheels that roll beautifully. This is an awesome rolling toy, and I had forgotten just how well Transformers used to roll. These are almost like Hot Wheels cars. And that is just a really, really nice thing. Underneath, you can see the robot is all folded up in there. He doesn't do quite as good a job of hiding his robot kibble as Hound did, but, you know, he's only a scout-size figure. He's half the size of Hound in vehicle mode. So, all things considered, this looks pretty darn good. Now, his transformation is a little bit more fiddly than it is with Hound, so I'm not going to do the transformation on camera. So, let's get him into robot mode. Yeah, so Dead End's transformation is pretty cool and interesting. It's more than just unfolding a shell. There's actually quite a bit of automorph involved, like the way the shoulders form when you pull the wheels out, and when you collapse the chest and push this up, it makes the head come out. That's all pretty well and good, but it does make it kind of tight and fiddly to do, and this chest plate is really hard to fold up this way. Like, as you can see, this hinge moves okay, but there's a second hinge right there. That hinge does not like to move so much. So actually getting it to accordion up without clipping into itself is quite the challenge. And this is one of the reasons why I was able to resist buying the toy back in the day, because he can't escape the fact that he's a movie toy. And by that I mean he is basically a skeletal robot who has gigantic pieces of car hanging off of him, largely in the forms of panels and backpack. I mean, look at that. From behind, it just looks like he's a splayed open car. There's very little effort to integrate any of it into the actual robot mode the way that they did with the Classics line and Hound. So yeah, and it seems that Transformers today is kind of doing a compromise of this thing, as they are making more effort to keep car mode parts as integrated parts of the vehicle, but there's still a lot of backpack issues we have going on. I'm just happy that door panels like this are not as common a sight, because this is an outright eyesore. It just looks like it would get in the way, frankly. And although I gotta say, I do like this guy's hands. They're ball jointed, so he can bend them inwards. And there's a 3mm peg hole in the middle, so he can hold 3mm weapons. And since it's ball jointed, it affords a full wrist swivel too. He also has fully ball jointed elbows, a ball jointed shoulder, which is built onto a hinge, so you can get some extra outward reach or pull it in. The head unfortunately has no real articulation, and it's a pretty interesting looking head too. He kind of looks like Hawkman, I think. I think they were going for some kind of owl or bird of prey kind of thing with this guy, which is kind of cool looking. He has no waist joint because of the way his torso accordions up for his transformation, but he does have ball jointed hips with a really good range. And I gotta say, this is a Revenge of the Fallen toy, meaning that it came out approximately 2008 or 2009, and despite the fact that it's nearly a decade old, these ball joints are tight and strong. Either the person who had this toy before me, because I did buy it used, took exceptionally good care of it, or it's just extremely well made, because nothing on him is weak at all. And other joints, like his knees here, are actually pin disc. it's actually pretty interesting to see metal pins because they don't use a lot of metal pins or screws in Transformers anymore. Again, they don't make them like they used to. He has a thigh swivel too, simple mushroom cap, and he has these really cool high-heeled shoes, making me think that, is this supposed to be a female Transformer or something? Because those are some pretty high stilettos, sister. But yeah, they afford him a nice large footprint so that he can stand pretty well however you pose him, and they do have their own articulation. He has ankle joints, and the toes can move separately from the heels. See that? So you can get them wider, make them a little bit shorter, or you can bend them forward for a crouch forward pose. The figure is very highly articulated, is what I'm trying to get at. So the thing is, I wanted to compare him to a modern day Transformer, but frankly, the most recent Scout that I purchased was Slash here. And the truth of the matter is that, well, Slash isn't a fair comparison because she's not a car. She's a Dinobot. If I had any of the older toys that could turn into animals, then maybe I could make a fair comparison with Slash. But the fact of the matter is that I actually haven't purchased a Scout-sized figure of a car in quite a long time. I think the only one I could possibly compare it to was that Scout-sized Strong Arm. I did buy a Strong Arm, but then I also customized that figure. I painted it and everything, so like I wouldn't be able to compare the paint because like that figure had a terrible paint job when I first bought it. And this guy's paint job is definitely better than the default paint job that Strong Arm came with. But then again, he's not trying to look like anybody from one of the cartoons or the movie. He's just a dude who can be his own thing. But still, it's a very good toy. It looks good. If you can hunt these down, you can probably pick one up on eBay. I would recommend it because that car mode is just so cool. It's sci-fi future-y. It's not trying to look like some weird license thing from the movie. So yeah, like this is just a really nice Transformer. If you can get by the skeleton with a bunch of car kibble hanging off aesthetic, which is just a very common thing from that era. Other than that, it's a good toy.